All right, so this specific model, I don't actually know the name of them, but I'll post it up probably like right here or something, the name of this model of shoe. But this is the shoe right here. I'm going to lower the camera a bit so that you guys can see. Let me get it a bit. Oh my God. So this is the specific shoe right here. This is a Red Wing shoe. It's all leather. It's not particularly grippy. It's a very slippery shoe. I'm going to say that outright right now. It's all leather, so it's pretty good quality, and it cost around $230. I'd like to say $230 to $250 to buy this shoe and the other one. Obviously, I didn't just get one shoe at a time, and these shoes, I've worn them for an entire year straight, and my honest opinion on them is these actually are probably the most comfortable pair of shoes I have ever worn in my entire life. I have done some 10 to 12 hour work days, and I've worn these. Now, initially when I had them for around the first month, they were pretty uncomfortable. I'd like to say that they were more firm than I would like, and I maybe thought that all this talk about Red Wings being comfortable was just some BS that was talked about because mainly men don't like to, they like to say that uncomfortable shoes are comfortable. But after breaking these in, I mean, they're soft now. You can see how soft they are. After breaking these in, these shoes have honestly been incredible. They have been the most comfortable pair of shoes I've ever worn. Now, they are a bit heavy, and I got another pair of Red Wings just recently, which is why I wanted to make a video on these ones, because I've worn these for an entire year straight. Okay, I've worn these 365, 8 hours a day. So I'm deciding to finally make a review because these are going to be my secondary, well, also my primary. I'm still going to wear them. They're still extremely comfortable, but I'm only going to wear them for construction now and beating them up. Now, when it comes to what I say in terms of investment, these shoes are worth it. Absolutely. These are a $230 pair of shoes, and your feet are one of the most important things on your body. Your feet are, you have to take, I mean, they're so important. You have to take care of your feet. If you wear the wrong shoes, you could get, I forgot what they call it, like hammer toe or something like that. And you could also develop foot problems when you're older. Also, if you're wearing the wrong shoes, you can get trench foot if you're working on a construction site 10 to 12 hours a day, and your foot can literally start rotting in the shoe. And it's surprising when you see this boot to think this isn't that breathable, but I was wearing running shoes and my feet were so much more wet in the running shoes. It's incredible. I couldn't believe how breathable these shoes actually were. And when these shoes softened up, they become amazingly comfortable. By that I mean they literally soften up. They, around your ankle won't get worn in. Your toes will spread out the bottom here. They'll cause it to kind of fold like this, and your toes will fill out the area. It won't compress anything, and they're extremely comfortable. And honestly, I haven't had too many problems with the shoes. Now, I'm going to express the main problems I had with the shoe right now, and so I'm going to start with one, that is the tongue. The tongue would often go to one side, and that would be a little uncomfortable, but I eventually just pushed it to the other side, opposite way, and tied it down, and it evened itself out over time, over like a month or two, and that was just fine. I mean, really, compared to other shoes, it was still extremely comfortable for having that very minor issue. Besides that, one thing that I do have to say is the grip on the shoes. It's not extremely grippy. I know they have a sole replacement to where you can put a new sole on the bottom that is far more grippier than these. These are extremely slick, and you will be slipping and sliding all over the place if you work in a kitchen or if you work in a rainy area to where there might be some algae or moss or something like that on the ground. I know that nowadays they do make shoes that have a different sole on them. In fact, I'm going to, oh God, I can't even show my boot. That's a Red Wing, and that's the one I just got to replace this pair. I'm still going to use this pair. As I said, they're very comfortable. They're very useful. But this shoe is honestly amazing. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about the features on this shoe and why I think you should get it. So one feature is this is a puncture-proof shoe. That means basically there's a leather sole in between the shoe and between the sole and your foot, which means when you step on a nail, you will not get stabbed in the foot. That is such a big deal. It's kind of weird to say that that's a big deal because most people aren't all the time stepping on nails, but if you work in a construction site, you're going to step on nails all the time. And there have been times where I lifted this boot when I was doing a little bit of construction, and there have been 5 or 6 nails stabbed in on the bottom. And when one went in that was a long nail and it pushed up, it didn't poke through, but I felt the little bump that it was creating because it was pushing so hard on in. Now, when it comes to wear and tear and durability, these boots, I would say get a 10 out of 10. I mean, if you've ever done roofing or anything like that, or general construction, you know that your shoes get torn up. Now, saying that, I would get a tough toe on the front. You can see that the laces are kind of worn in, but they've been like that for an entire year. I stopped doing construction and started working in like a kitchen, and they've been like that for a year. And it's kind of incredible that they haven't unlaced from this torn up front, because I thought they would after wearing them for so long, but I'm not even kidding when I do say they've been exactly like that for a year. One thing on the other boot I'll show you right now is the sole coming apart right here. This also has been like this for a year, and it's still incredible how it hasn't came off. I don't know how it hasn't came off. That's what's surprising to me, because in these shoes, I've worn these everywhere and done everything in them, and they still haven't come apart. Now, if you're going to ask, well, what situations have I worn these boots in? Well, I've worn them in heavy construction situations, working on 4-story, 3-story, 2-story roofs, doing roofing. I've worn these in a kitchen where I've had rice stuck to them. In fact, there's some rice residue. This is rice residue, this stuff right here. That's specifically brown rice residue, actually, that is stuck to these boots. I've worn these when I was cleaning horse hooves. We used to have a horse that we just got rid of, and this had horse poop probably about to here. I've walked in water on these, and I've had the water probably all the way up to here, and it still stayed waterproof. I've worn these in the snow, and I'm just saying these have really bad snow insulation. I had to wear 2 socks for the snow insulation because it was so cold. These boots were honestly freezing. Even though they are very nice boots, they are not meant for going in the snow. They are not cold proof. I'm just going to say that right now. But besides that, I've worn this in cattle situations, and I've also worn it in riding an electric motorcycle situation, my little electric moped that I've been riding around, and it functioned really well. Now, as I said before, it doesn't have very good cold protection, so your feet are going to get freezing if it's anywhere around the 30-degree mark, unless you wear 2 socks, but they do make a model that is cold proof, which is pretty useful. Besides that, in terms of durability, as I was saying before, it does have little marks on it, but really for being a year old and wearing it 365, I put these boots through a lot of wear and tear, and they still have lasted. Now, they do sell a mink moisturizing kit for the boots themselves. I used to clean them every 2 weeks to just try and keep up the maintenance, but I stopped, and honestly, I think they look kind of cool worn in. You can see that I've beat them up. These aren't new shoes by any means. You can see that they are quite torn in. You can see that I've obviously put these boots through their paces. Let's take a look at the other one. You know, it's a little shiny, but it's got nothing new on it. It's obviously been worn in. And after these boots break in, I don't doubt that you can wear these boots for 5, 10, 20 years and still wear them. Now, a lot of people say there's no possible way that a boot will last more than 2 years or more than a year, and I think that's absolutely ridiculous. Doing heavy construction, doing roofing especially, or tree trimming, you're going to go through boots pretty fast, and there are guys on the roofs that have Red Wings that have put a tough toe on them that have had them last years. I know that for a fact, and I think, honestly, on my opinion on Red Wings boots, after wearing these and just talking about them, these boots are going to get a 10 out of 10 everywhere for me. They're comfortable, they're not light, okay, they're heavy, but they're construction boots. They're stab proof. These ones specifically have a cool sole. This white sole is supposed to be a cool sole for if you're on a hot surface, and they also are very flexible, and they don't get a smell. That's something that I haven't experienced before with any other shoe. I bought Walmart $60 shoes before, and they were just absolute garbage. I think they were Benjamins or something, and they smelled at the end of the day. They smelled like dirty feet. With these, I've sweat just as much as in the Benjamins, but they don't smell like feet, which is something that's a really big thing for a lot of people. They don't smell at the end of the day. Now, you might take your foot out and your foot might smell, but the shoe itself, it's quite odd how it doesn't smell, and I still don't know how that works. Might be because of the breathability of the shoe, but these shoes are very comfortable. They get a 10 out of 10 for me. Now, I replaced these with a newer pair of Red Wings because after wearing this, my opinion of Red Wings is basically I'm only going to buy Red Wings for the rest of my life, or possibly I'll get Red Wings in some other type of running shoe so that I have a pretty comfortable pair of work shoes But honestly, these Red Wings, if you are planning on getting them, I would 100% recommend them. And they're also very convenient in the fact that when you tie these like this and you get the Red Wings lace like this. Now, the funny thing I should say actually is these aren't the original Red Wings laces. I broke the original Red Wings laces in like the first week or two of owning them, which is really weird to say because these boots have been extremely durable. But I broke the lace very, very quickly, and I bought a new lace. I think it was from Walmart. It was just one of their cheap laces, and these laces have lasted just as long as the boots. And usually if you do roofing or anything like that, the number one thing you do is break laces, and that's what happened with the original Red Wing laces. But when I got this replacement, they have not broken yet. And the nice thing about these boots is instead of having to always tie them, they have these little hooks right there, which you can see. This and this, they're originally painted black, but I've worn them down, so now they're bronze. And when you want to, instead of tying your shoe, want to put your boots on real quick, put your foot in and you pull, and then you twist it, and then you just loop over. And it's honestly something that's really convenient. It's really nice. And after owning these boots and using that hundreds and hundreds of times and wearing down that to be bronze, and even the black leather I guess ankle rim on this has softened up, and it's very, very soft. I mean, I could even show like, and these boots, honestly, they're amazing. And just remember, if you are going to get these after I say this, that they do not break in for a little while. Since these are work boots, they're going to take longer than any type of running or tactical boot that is given by Red Wings. They're probably going to take, I'd say, around a month to a month and a half to break in. And in that time, they're going to be pretty uncomfortable. They're going to have a firm sole. They're going to be a little firm around the edges. But when they do break in, they break in very, very well. They are very soft right now. You can see I'm just bending that. They will break in very nicely. They'll fold. They'll be soft. And the leather is going to be very durable. And the only thing that I would do if I was to get another pair like this specific pair is I would get it with a tough toe, and I would get it with a new sole that is more grippy, because if you do work on any wet surfaces, this is going to be an extremely slippery sole. Now, because these are going to be my spare shoes, if I do really want them to be resold, of course I'll just get them, but it's going to cost $90. But I honestly think that I'm just going to keep them like this. In fact, since these are going to be really my new beater shoes, and they're expensive beater shoes, you know, I'm just going to just keep them until they wear out. And I think that they'll honestly last 5 or 10 years, maybe even more, because they're very nice shoes. Now, a lot of people will criticize the price. They'll say $230 is a lot of money for a pair of shoes. But, you know, as I stated before, your feet are one of the most important part of your bodies, and having the wrong gear on your feet is just so bad for you. It's so bad for your future. You're going to develop extreme foot pain when you get older, and you have to think about it from an actual smart perspective and not a I'm a macho man perspective, which is quite ignorant, because the only thing you're going to be doing is damaging yourself. It doesn't matter if you spend half a paycheck on a pair of shoes. If those pair of shoes last 6 months, they already paid themselves back, because you don't want to be older and having to pay hundreds of dollars in foot surgery, or have to pay hundreds of dollars because you're in a wheelchair and you're going to need to be wheelchair accessible because you didn't buy the right pair of shoes doing construction or being on a roof. So when it comes to these shoes, absolutely get them. They're my favorite pair of shoes that I've ever gotten, and I think that I'm going to keep this pair for much, much longer. I'm just going to show you the replacement pair though, just because I really think the replacement pair is pretty cool too. So I'm taking a video of my new shoes, which were a very nice present courtesy of my grandma, and these new shoes are extremely nice. They come with a new, I think this is a Vibram or Vibram sole. These boots cost around the same price as the old one, and they come actually with the Tough Toe pre-installed, which is really nice. You don't have to pay the extra $40 or $45 for the Tough Toe. Of course, working construction, if you can always choose to get a soft toe, you're probably going to prefer that because they won't tear up your socks and they won't cause your nails on your toes to be bleeding at the end of the day. Besides that, these are obviously not broken in yet. They're pretty new, and I just wanted to show them just to show a reference to my old shoes and my new shoes. So let's get the old shoes. That's what my old shoes looked like, and these ones are a little more fitting than my old ones. These are a 10.5, much bigger, about a size bigger or a size and a half. These are about half a size bigger than my actual toe. So my toe is probably like right about here. And you know, honestly, I think when these boots break in, they're probably going to be one of the most comfortable pair of shoes that I own, and I love them. Honestly, I think possibly for the rest of my life I might get Red Wings. But there's the video, and if you really thought it was good, just leave a comment saying thank you or leave a like.